Picture a loner boy yearning to make contact with aliens and a popular girl wishing for ghosts to be real, but coincidentally their worlds end up colliding and their wishes come true. Having immersed themselves into the world of paranormal and supernatural phenomenons, our lovebirds must work together to survive in this funky new world. Opening on Momo Ace arguing with her boyfriend. Annoyed that her boyfriend continues to hound her for money, but when her boyfriend asks for Momo to offer up her body, Momo fires off a roundhouse kick. Having blocked the kick, the boyfriend retaliates by kicking Momo away, leaving Momo on the ground as he breaks up with Momo, seeing as she isn't useful to him anymore. In class, Muko and Miko scold Momo for choosing such a dreadful boy to be her first boyfriend ever, but Momo defends herself by saying that her ex-boyfriend resembled her dream date, Ken Takakura. Momo cries that she loves masculine men, but her friends ask Momo to stop dreaming. That day, Momo stumbles through the school hallways, suddenly stopping in front of a class where she sees Akaran being bullied by his classmates. But before the bullies can escalate things, Momo decides to stand up for Akaran and sit beside him. Having deterred the bullying, Momo asks what Akaran is reading, but getting bored, Momo decides to leave the scene. Later that day, Momo continues to storm through the hallways, suddenly noticing Akaran calling out to her, but seeing as Akaran has misinterpreted her kindness as some sort of love confession, Momo clarifies that she doesn't have any feelings for Akaran. Luckily, Akaran shows off the magazine he was reading earlier regarding the discovery of extraterrestrial beings on Mars, asking if Momo is a fan as well. Sadly, Momo states she could care less about UFO or aliens. Akaran continues to rant about UAPs and Japan's preparation for a space war, but Momo begins to leave. When Akaran tries spilling more information on Momo, Momo gets pissed, stating that her recent breakup is souring her mood, crying that Akaran's geekiness is the reason he doesn't have friends, only to fling his magazine aside. As Momo leaves the saddened Akaran, Momo realizes she may have said too much, immediately apologizing as she hands Akaran his magazine back. Momo admits that she does believe in ghosts, but Akaran begins to giggle, stating that ghosts don't exist, causing the two to despise each other. Momo reveals that her grandma is a spirit medium, asking if Akaran has ever seen an exorcism where the victim convulses, but Akaran simply plays it off as the victim having an illness. Momo fires back by demanding to know what proves aliens exist, but as the two continue to bicker, Muko and Miko stumble onto the two, glad to see Momo is getting over her breakup. Momo states that if she can prove ghosts exist, she demands Akaran serve her as a gopher, something that Akaran agrees to, as he states he'll make Momo serve him when he proves aliens exist. That night, Momo heads to the abandoned Nagi General Hospital, having been instructed by Akaran to head to the top floor and call for a UFO to abduct her. Momo is freaked out by the rundown location, wondering what sorts of things these aliens will do to her once abducted. But Momo gets weirded out hearing that Akaran may have been abducted in the past, but his memories seem to have been wiped. As for Akaran, he's seen visiting an abandoned railway tunnel as instructed by Momo, boldly heading over some guardrails as he declares he'll prove ghosts don't exist. With some teasing from Momo, Akaran soldiers on into the dark tunnel, but Akaran gets furious hearing that Momo has never met a ghost before. Momo reminds Akaran that her grandma is a spirit medium and that her grandparents mean a lot to her, seeing as her parents are never around, something that makes Akaran feel sorry for Momo. Momo adds that her family is quite weird, having been forced in her younger years to uphold rituals on her way to school for good luck, but naturally such a thing caused her to be bullied by the kids her age. But worst of all, the boys she liked made fun of her. Momo remembers blaming her grandma for making her feel so outcast, feeling bad that her relationship with her grandma grew distant since then. It's also the reason Momo believes in ghosts so much as she wants to defend her grandma's beliefs. Momo had realized that she hated the fact that the boy she liked didn't believe in ghosts, and in turn her grandma, something that Momo refuses to compromise on, especially since her grandma did so much to raise her. But having said too much, Momo asks why Akaran believes in aliens. Akaran states that he doesn't have any solid reason like Momo to believe in aliens, but having discovered some bloody footprints leading up to him, distracting himself by pointing out how easy it is to speak to Momo over the phone. Slowly getting freaked out, Akarin checks behind him for any ghost. But upon turning back into the tunnel, Akarin stumbles onto the ghost of Granny that morbidly offers to do kinky things to Akarin. Terrified, Akarin sprints back through the tunnel, reporting to Momo that he found a ghost. But as Akarin continues towards the exit of the tunnel, the exit suddenly seems more distant than before. When Akarin turns to check on the ghost Granny, the entire tunnel turns red, hearing from Momo that the Turbo Granny ghost is a creature you should never lose to in a race, seeing as you'll be cursed if you lose. As the Granny sprints after Akarin, it easily catches up to him, forcing Akarin to hang up on Momo, scaring her. Rushing to check on Akarin, Momo instead notices some flashing lights, only to notice 3 businessmen staring at her. With Momo attempting to flee, she's ultimately captured, waking up bound to a chair only to hear the 3 businessmen utter that they are Serpoians from the planet Serpo. Momo is shocked to be speaking to aliens, but gets annoyed seeing as they ripped her clothes off of her, demanding to be set free. The alien Rokuro reveals that their species reproduces by cloning and doesn't house any females, stating that they want to reclaim their former glory by mating with a human, unveiling a mechanized serpent that horrifies Momo. Momo declares that her first time will be reserved for Kin Takakura, but as the aliens hold Momo down, they begin arousing Momo by tampering with her brain waves using psychokinesis. The aliens are impressed that Momo is resisting their arousal, but as the aliens try to force themselves onto Momo, they suddenly hear a ring from Momo's phone. As one of the aliens picks up the call, Turbo Granny can be seen emerging from the phone, immediately dispatching one of the aliens. It's revealed that Akarin had been cursed by Turbo Granny and seems to be struggling with control over his new body. But as Turbo Granny takes back her body, we see the aliens unveiling their true form. Revealed to be disturbing frog-looking monsters, one of the aliens attempt to bind Turbo Granny with their psychokinesis, but Turbo Granny simply speeds up dispatching another alien. When Granny hunts down the third, she is ultimately caught and flung into a nearby wall. But with Akarin able to temporarily gain control of his body, he is annoyed that he never was able to make contact with aliens even when he was a young boy calling out to them. Akarin was bullied due to his beliefs, but having met Momo, Akarin was shocked she was the first to ever believe in him, crying that he won't let anyone hurt her. As Akarin begins accepting Turbo Granny into his body, he slowly begins to morph, but having been slammed into the wall by the alien again, Akarin's transformation is halted. Turning to Momo, the alien declares it'll make their session quick, resuming its telekinesis to arouse Momo. Momo suddenly remembers the moment when she had argued with her grandma. When Momo had told her grandma about the boy she liked bullying her, her grandma had asked Momo to tense her abs and fire off some chi from her head to scare away the bad spirits. But having been reminded of the boys bullying her, Momo had run off blaming her grandma for her bullies. In the present, Momo is in a daze, heeding her grandma's advice, choosing to flex her abs only to surprisingly break free from her chains. Akarin cries that Momo is using psychic powers that even disrupt the alien psychokinesis, but seeing her newborn powers, Momo declares that her grandma was right all along. Sending out a flying kick, Momo is reminded of her ex-boyfriend, officially dispatching the third alien as it's sent flying into its UFO. As the area around her begins to fall apart, Momo searches for Akarin, only to notice Turbo Granny has taken over his body. When Granny tries pouncing on Momo, Momo lets loose her powers to knock Granny out of Akarin, but seeing as Granny is still cursing Akarin, Momo watches Granny vanish, taunting Momo to seek it out in the tunnel if she wants Akarin's curse lifted. At the same time, we see the UFO flying towards the abandoned hospital, ramming through it only to crash land onto the road nearby. With the duo barely surviving the crash, they both acknowledge that aliens and ghosts are real, but Momo is annoyed that she has to continually suppress Akarin's curse with her psychic powers. Seeing as he needs to defeat Turbo Granny, Akarin gives Momo his clothes, apologizing for getting Momo involved as he states he'll deal with Turbo Granny himself. Momo reminds Akarin that he needs her powers to fight Granny, But as Akarin accepts Momo's proposal, he asks Momo to please cover herself up. Getting flustered, all of a sudden, Momo takes the chance to ask for Akarin's full name, coincidentally hearing that Akarin's full name is Kin Takakura as well. With Momo refusing to believe Akarin has such a cool name, we see Akarin's curse slowly taking over again, forcing Momo to suppress it with her psychic powers. Momo states that Akarin will be his nickname moving forward, but as the duo walk back home, the sun begins to rise, meaning they'll have to wait till night to face Turbo Granny, since ghosts only come out at night. Seeing as Akarin needs some clothes, Momo takes him to his granny's place. But Momo warns Akarin that her grandma despises boys, especially her ex. As the two enter the property, Akarin passes by a torii gate that suddenly ignites his body. But seeing no other choice, Momo tosses Akarin into a nearby river with her powers. Seeing as the gate had a protective totem on it, Momo apologizes, removing the barrier only for Akarin to safely enter the property. As the duo enter Momo's home, they head upstairs where Momo begins to change, but seeing as they broke line of sight, Momo orders Akarin to face a wall while she changes, that way she can still suppress Akarin's curse. Having changed into a fresh fit, Momo tosses Akarin one of her jackets, but Momo wonders how Turbo Granny cursed Akarin. Realizing something, Akarin checks his pants, realizing that his reproductive organ is missing, something Momo is curious to verify. Denying Momo access, Akarin gets changed, admitting that he only started talking to Momo since he had never had a friend before, and it seemed that Momo would be his best bet at first. Akarin admits that Momo lives a far different life than his, apologizing for getting Momo involved with such dangerous things. But Momo gets annoyed at Akarin for assuming how she feels. Momo states that Akarin has no friends because he pushes everyone away, something Akarin does not deny. But luckily Momo is happy to continue being Akarin's friend even after his curse is resolved, something that makes Akarin tear up. Embarrassed, Akarin calls Momo ugly, something that pisses Momo off. But before the two can brawl, they both hear a doorbell. Akarin wonders if Momo's grandma is home, but Momo reveals that she's never heard such a doorbell noise before, realizing that a spirit must have entered their property, and it's because they removed the talisman protecting them. Seeing as they need to reinstate the barrier, the duo sneak out the back door, both peeping to see who is at the front door, but no one is there. Akarin takes note of the cloudy sky, only for the surrounding land to be encased in stone, stopping any escape. The duo realizes that they can't reattach the talisman, seeing as the torii gate had been encased in stone as well. But upon inspecting the talisman a little more, Momo suddenly notices blood dripping from her nose. Right on cue, Akarin cries out in pain, having a nose bleed as well. But as Momo scans the perimeter, she notices a black fog has covered the surroundings. In the sky, a spirit declares that it has found our duo, uttering that a promise has been broken, clapping its hands only to send out a burst of wind. Seeing the spirit firing off a punch, our duo leap to evade, watching as the spirit smashes the talisman into the nearby wall. Terrified, the duo run for dear life, both flung beside the nearby house, only to continue fleeing from the spirit's attacks. Hiding behind the house, Akarin recognizes the spirit as the Flatwoods Monster, an alien that is commonly 3 meters tall and have been seen in the prefectures of Yamanashi, Japan. Momo wonders if there is a link between spirits and aliens, but seeing the monster spitting out the black fog, Momo states that she can't use her full powers while suppressing Akarin's curse. With Akarin's curse spiking again, the duo flee from their hiding spot, seeing as the monster smashed the area they were in while searching for them. As Momo suppresses the curse, Akarin takes note of the state of Momo's home, realizing that he can't stand idly by and watch the monster wreak havoc anymore. Akarin asks if Momo can partially release the curse, both suddenly forced to relocate, seeing as the monster has discovered them again. But Akarin cries for Momo to continue suppressing Turbo Granny's mind control whilst allowing the physical enhancements through. Seeing no other choice, Momo focuses in, slowly allowing the curse to take over Akarin's body, But as the monster throws an axe kick onto the duo, Akarin rescues Momo, having transformed with Momo's help. Overflowing with power, Akarin begins talking strangely. But whilst Akarin and Momo are distracted, the monster approaches and attacks Akarin from behind. Luckily, Akarin had reacted fast enough, chewing off the monster's fingers. With Akarin and the monster face to face, Akarin suddenly begins coughing up blood, allowing the monster to get the upper hand, stomping Akarin into the ground. But Momo reacts quickly to rescue Akarin from his daze. Having reverted back to his human self, Akarin says his body can't handle the curse. But as the two observe the monster, they suddenly realize that the monster is performing sumo wrestling moves, wondering if they can defeat it by having its hands touch the ground. Intrigued by the idea, Akarin transforms once again, hearing that Momo will assist Akarin. But as the duo rush towards the monster, they spot the creature firing a ripple attack. As both barely dodge, Akarin manages to rip apart the monster's ankle, allowing Momo to drag the monster onto the ground, confirming its palm disappeared once it touched the ground. Sadly, the creature rolls to prevent its other hand from touching the ground, grabbing a hold of Momo only to toss her into the nearby wall with the torii gate. Following up by pummeling Momo, all whilst Akarin's curse begins to take over, but luckily, Momo is still awake to keep Akarin in check. Momo voices how annoying it is that the monster cheated, but this only pisses the monster off, prompting it to wail onto Momo. Having endured enough, Momo reveals she had used the monster's punches to carve out the torii gate, swiftly activating her psychic skills to drag Akarin toward her, only for her to reattach the talisman, setting the monster ablaze. Seeing as Akarin is outside the gate with her, they both gasp, seeing as everything is back to normal. But Momo does compliment Akarin's new permed hair. Tired, Momo suddenly collapses from exhaustion, leaving Akarin to begin transforming, seeing as the granny curse is taking over.